Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about my final project for the complexity course, an agent-based model for US presidential primary, about how and why an extremist can win an election. First of all, some background information. The US presidential primary is a process for the major party to select their nominee for the general election. Multiple candidates compete against each other, and some of them who perform badly would drop out of the race as time goes on. Usually, the one with most votes will make it to the end, and win the primary. This year, some extremists in the primary enjoy incredible popularity. So, I want to study the phenomenon by simulating the process using agent-based model. Now, let's look at our model. The agents in our model are 5 candidates, one of whom is extreme, and the rest are moderate, and 30 voters. Similarly, voters are composed of extreme ones and moderate ones. So how do we define a specific agent? We use ideological vector, a term that I invented. It's a vector of length 5. And each element represents an important topic in the election. They can be abortion, trade policy, gun control, etc. The value of each element ranges from 0 to 1. It represents the stance of the agents on that issue. For example, if X1 represents gun control and the voter's value of it is 0.1, we may say that he strongly supports gun control. If the value, however, is 0.9, we may say that he is opposed to gun control. And now let's look at the process of the simulation. The process is a cycle. Voters first vote for the candidate who is closest to themselves in ideology, which is computed by the distance between the two vectors. Then the candidate with least votes will drop out of the race and leave his supporters unbound. Then the rest of the candidates change their stances on certain issues, which just means changing their ideology vector to attract more votes. After that, voters vote again. The cycle stops where there is only one candidate left, and he will be the winner of the election. In case you are confused, here is a visualization of the model. Now the agents are reduced to 2D so that we can visualize them. Here, candidates are represented by triangles, where voters are represented by the dots. Pay attention to this group. These are the agents who are moderate. These are the moderate candidates, and these are the moderate voters. And these are the agents that are extreme voters and extreme candidate. So let's look at how the process works. First of all, voters vote. The voters will choose the closest candidate to themselves. For example, these voters will vote for this candidate. These voters will vote for this candidate. And these voters will vote for this candidate. Secondly, the candidate with the least votes will drop out. Let's assume it's this guy. He drops out and his supporters are left unbound. After that, candidates evolve. They will change their stances to attract more votes. For example, this candidate might move to the middle to attract these votes, and this candidate might move here to attract these kind of votes. And after they made the movement, the voters vote again. The cycle continues until there is only one candidate left. So basically, that's how the process works. and that's how the model is built. And I wrote a program to implement the model and plotted the result. The horizontal axis represents the number of extreme voters, and the vertical axis represents percentage. I changed the number of extreme voters from 15, which is half of the total, all the way down to 0, while keep other factors constant. This line shows the percentage of the extremist wins, and this line shows the percentage of the extremist ending in at least the second place, which means he is either the first or the second. So the first discovery is that the extremist has a fairly high chance of winning, even when the majority of voters are moderate. He does so by gradually shifting toward moderate while keeping the support of those extreme voters. In such a way, he can increase his voters and supporters step by step and finally reach the majority. The second discovery is that the extremist is very likely to end up in at least the second place, which is enough to create a huge influence. This is because moderate candidates split the votes at first. The extremists are harder to defeat until only one moderate candidate is left and collect most of the votes of the moderate voters. There are also other discoveries and details. If you're interested, read about my research online. Finally, future works. There are a lot of parameters in the model. By changing them, you can simulate different scenarios and discover them by yourself. Secondly, the ideology vector of agents can be initialized by real polling data instead of hypothetical distribution. This will make the model more connected to the real world. So that's all I want to present about my project, and I hope you like it. If you have questions, we can talk about them online. Thank you.